My name is William Michael. I'm the headmaster of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, and it's very common for parents to look at the curriculum that we offer in the academy and wonder, how in the world do we use this? How does this work? It's so different. I can't understand how my children can use this program because it doesn't seem to fit into the normal model of K to 12 schools. What about college? What about such and such? So, what I'd like to do here is just provide a terrible drawing to help illustrate how parents need to think about the classical liberal arts curriculum, the classical Catholic curriculum, that is, and understand how it works in real life because it is very different, but it's easy to understand once we think about how things work. Let's begin by, I'm just going to draw a little building over here, and I'll just make this a church and put a cross on top. And we'll say that this is a church. So this church, the Catholic Church recommends, and when I say Catholic Church, I don't necessarily mean your local parish priest. I mean the doctors and philosophers of the church throughout history. The Catholic tradition recommends a course of study for us that takes us, or takes a student, and I'll draw a student here, takes a student on a certain path through learning and through life. And I'll draw this path here, and we'll just kind of have it vanish off into the sunset. We'll make a horizon across here. So this is the path of learning recommended by the saints and doctors of the church, the classical Catholic curriculum, the classical liberal arts. And this path is intended to lead students to wisdom or everlasting happiness. It's, as I said, the path of the classical liberal arts. Now over here, let's draw another building, and forgive my terrible drawing skills here. I just want to demonstrate this. So let's say that this is our college. Any college, it doesn't matter whether Christian or non-Christian. So here's our college, and here will be our front steps to this college, and a big front door, which represents college admissions. And what we're used to seeing, scroll down here a bit, what we're used to seeing is lots and lots of students, all of the modern students in all of the modern schools, all studying the same K to 12 program and going in to this front door at the university, as it were. This huge line of students going into the main admission doors at the whatever college you may be interested in. We look at this, we see this in public schools, we see this in private schools, we see this in home schools, this modern K to 12 path that schools have created, that the public school system has invented for the sake of providing public education. And the college, being a business, has organized itself around this main path simply because it's the main path that most schools choose to follow. The college did not design this path. The college does not require students to travel down this path. The college has simply organized itself around this path because this path in modern society has become normal. And most parents, when they look, they see the big front doors of the admissions department at the college. They read the admissions materials published by the college. Actually, most don't. They'd be better off if they did, but very few do. And they just listen to the school counselors and they look at what everyone else is doing and they get their kids in this line and they give them this K to 12 education because it looks like that's what's necessary to go to college. And over here, we've got this poor soul who's just following the advice of wise men and doctors of the church, imitating the saints, and his path just appears to go off into nowhere. However, if we get to know this college a little better, we find out that there are other departments and other wings of this college, and we'll add some more steps, and we'll add a smaller door, and we'll find that this path here has options on it that allow one to go off into this side door, get a degree, and continue on this path. So we'll make this the main door, and we'll put a 1 over this door, and this will be a secondary door, and we'll put a 2 on it. What parents don't understand is that the college is perfectly open to students coming in through door number 2. They simply don't advertise it on their websites. It's not in the brochures or in the magazine catalogs because it's rare, because everyone is coming in through the main door, not because the college asks them to, but simply because that's how the schools are organized. We'll find, if we learn more, that there are still other branches of this college. There are other doors. There's a door over here. And this door is welcome to other paths. Through this door, we might have business people coming in, people who are adults. We may have part-time students. And there are other doors into this college which lead to offer the same degrees and allow people to come in and out of the college from a number of different places, a number of different sources, come in, study, get their degrees, and move on back on the path they're traveling. And so we can't allow this K to 12 main stream of students to distract us from the fact that this college is not asking for students to all come through the front door. There are a number of different doors. The schools, if we read their admissions materials, we'll see that they say this again and again. This door, number 2, may be open for homeschool students. This door over here is certainly open for students who study the classical liberal arts. Sorry, the pen is pretty sloppy. This door is open for different religious groups where they have their own unique traditions in education, and everyone doesn't follow this secular K to 12 curriculum path. There are a number of different ways into any college, even the most selective colleges, and if you read the college's admissions information, their official material published on their website, go to the FAQs and poke around, you'll see this explained, even by the best universities in the world, that they do not ask all students to pursue the same course of preparatory education. It simply appears that way because it's the way public schools do it, which have 90% of the students in our country. It's the way private schools do it because the public schools do the same thing, and the private schools simply try to go one up on the public schools rather than rethinking education or actually solving the problems. They just try to stay a few SAT points ahead to justify charging their private school tuition. But this main entrance to the college is not necessary. When a student graduates high school, for example, he's 18 years old. He could apply for admission to a college as an adult student and take part-time courses and be admitted as a part-time student and enter door number 3 over here. But a student who's studying the classical liberal arts will simply look to enter in through this other door with a custom or individualized preparation experience. The college will seek to make sure that basic requirements have been satisfied, and they can be satisfied by simply adding to the classical liberal arts curriculum, like taking a math or science course at a community college. The worst that could happen for this student is the college denies him initial entry, and he simply takes 1 or 2 semesters at a community college to study modern courses like math and science, and then transfers into the college. So the problem with admission and high school preparation and homeschooling is that parents don't seem to realize that there are many ways to take care of college admission and college preparation. Our children do not need to enter in through this K to 12 curriculum. They're perfectly free to follow a traditional Catholic course, studying the classical liberal arts, focusing on catechism, scripture studies, theology, philosophy, classical languages, and so on, even though those are not the primary admission requirements for door number 1 over here. So it's simply not a problem. Now, what is a problem is, as I said, this path includes subjects and studies that are important for the Catholic life. For example, this path includes the study of Catholic philosophy. This path includes the study of Catholic theology. And this K to 12 path doesn't leave any room for those subjects. It places so much emphasis on modern math and science and other modern courses, and actually has such low standards because this curriculum is only designed to serve 180 days of the calendar year. The standards for this mainstream of education are very, very low, and it does not offer a full curriculum for Catholic students. The classical liberal arts, or the classical Catholic curriculum, not only can satisfy these requirements, which are minimal, but it also adds the important studies like philosophy studies, theology studies, and so on. And at the same time, while on this general path towards everlasting happiness, a student, if his vocation requires, can take this side route through a college and return back to the path to serve God in the best way possible. This is what most priests do as they go through colleges and seminaries. This is what many vocations require, and Catholics can simply pursue both. They can follow this path in the service of God with a classical Catholic education, while also gaining benefits like a college degree or certification along the way. So once we understand how colleges actually work, that they don't require students to come in through the front door, but they're simply designed to focus on students who will be coming in through the front door, we can understand that having an alternative plan or curriculum for our children's education is not a big deal. We don't have to try to think about how the classical Catholic curriculum can fit into the mainstream and help our kids get in the front door. We don't need to do that to the classical Catholic curriculum. We can let the classical Catholic curriculum just be the classical Catholic curriculum. Now, here's one other note. In a normal school, the K to 12 school is designed so that a student gets kicked out at age 18. And students have this crisis at age 18 where they have to answer the question, what are you doing? And so getting into this college, this front door, is normally a high pressure experience for an 18 or 19-year-old student. Door number 2 doesn't care about a student's age, really doesn't care, nor does door number 3. This main door is designed to serve this mainstream of students, and so it just expects that students are going to be applying at that particular time in their lives, when they're seniors in high school, and all of this is artificial. When they're seniors in high school, they're finishing high school, and then they're thinking about what their plans will be the following fall after they finish 12th grade. The college is designed to serve that model in that time frame, but it's not necessary. A student in a homeschool environment receiving a classical Catholic education can apply to college a year later, 2 years later. As I said, he could take a year and simply take some community college courses to fill out his transcript with modern studies so that he's not distracted while growing up with all of those studies, and then apply when he's 19 or 20. A student can choose to finish his homeschool studies and at age 18, like my children have done, enter the military, establish a military career, and then go to college with their tuition paid and all sorts of other benefits. The colleges are designed to serve all of these different students with all of these different backgrounds and paths through college studies. So don't let this front door and the mainstream and the main material presented by colleges distract you from the reality that colleges are much more open and flexible than some of these things appear. If you go to a school or to a K to 12 homeschool program and ask them for advice, it's very likely that they're not able to think outside of this mainstream K to 12 path that goes in through the front door of the college. They may have never had an education like this themselves and don't even know about the other doors through which students can enter into a college or university. So if you ask people who only have had experience in the mainstream of education, whether they're in public schools, private schools, or homeschools, you're going to get advice that's ignorant of all of the options open to your children. And that's going to make you feel pressured that going out of this mainstream is going to get you into trouble, or it's going to make you confused to think of how this path can somehow be directed to end up in this path when it doesn't have to end up in that path. So, when you look at the Classical Liberal Arts Academy and see what we offer, don't think that this needs to be fit into a K to 12 study plan. It doesn't. All of the artificial timing, all of the talk about grades and age levels and all these things in this path are artificial. They're not necessary. You can focus on raising your children with an education that's actually advised and recommended by philosophers and doctors of the church. You can be free from the artificial pressures of time restraints, especially when you have children with different personalities and abilities that just need to be able to work at their own pace. And door number 2 will be available anytime that they are ready to use it. So that's the difference between what we offer in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy and what's available just about everywhere else. Everyone else is trying to get in through this main front door entrance. And most of these programs are really the same exact program, just with slight differences to try and compete for business. But really, it's the same program with the same flaws, the same weaknesses, and it doesn't serve the needs of Catholic students. So I hope that's a helpful explanation for how the classical liberal arts curriculum and program that we offer differs. I hope that helps you to understand that you don't need to fit our program into the mainstream path to try to get into door number 1, but you can mind your own business, enjoy your Catholic homeschool life, focus on sacramental life, focus on Catholic education, study Catholic philosophy, study classical languages, and don't worry about what the mainstream path is doing, because door number 2 is available for you, and many other doors. As I said, there are many other doors. This is just an illustration. But if your children pursue wisdom and study well, they're not going to have any problem getting into a college that they desire to get into. And even if they get denied to a college, there are ways to just go back, shore up their transcript, and transfer in. It's not a big deal. Don't let this artificial pressure to get in through door number 1, which is created by the K to 12 schools to try and make them appear important and necessary. That's part of their business plan. Don't let this crowd distract you from the principles of a true classical Catholic education. I hope that's a helpful, albeit ugly, illustration to help clarify these points. I hope it relieves some confusion. If you have any other questions about this, please get in touch. I'm happy to talk through all of the practical details. God bless.